Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Just repeat after me, something to calm our energies. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Soham Hamsa Shivaha. Soham Hamsa Shivaha. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Soham Hamsa Shivaha. Soham Hamsa Shivaha. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Hamsa Shiva Soham. Soham Hamsa Shivaha. Soham Hamsa Shivaha. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa Shivaha. What the mantra says is Hamsa. Hamsa in technically means Jiva, the individual. Hamsa Shiva Soham. This Jiva, this individual, is of the nature of Shiva, the consciousness, the auspiciousness. Soham Hamsa Shiva. Soham, through Soham, or I am that Shiva, and that Shiva is Shiva is Shiva. Sa Shiva. Sa is feminine. Saha is masculine. Sa is feminine. Sa Shiva. So that female energy, the Shiva or the Parvati or the Shakti, Sa Shiva Soham. I am. Sa Shiva Soham Hamsa is the individual. So if you put the whole thing together, Shiva and Shakti are not separate. Shiva and the individual are not separate. Shiva means the male Shiva. And the Shakti and the Jiva are not separate. In other words, Shiva, Shakti and the individual consciousness are one and the same. इतना सुंदर मंत्र है और यही हम अभी कैलाश से आ रहे हैं सीधे. 2 days ago I finished my Kailash Yatra, and this is the mantra we are chanting all along, and yeah, it was just wonderful. So with that, what do you want me to speak on? I don't know. Vishalji?
Babashi's in charge.
He already told.
He leads us.
He leads us. Same thing.
Same.
Happy way of living life. देखो, challenges only come when we are overconfident in life. And Arjuna was overconfident in Bhagavad Gita when it began, before the Bhagavad Gita began, Arjun was overconfident. And therefore, in that overconfidence came about his arrogance. And with that arrogance, he commanded Lord Krishna to take the chariot between the two armies. Till here it was still okay. But then on top of that he added, I want to see who has come to fight. See? So Krishna Bhagavan, though he was waiting for all the time that he has known Arjuna, ये कब मेरी शरण में आएगा? When he will come to my... You understand Hindi also in between? You don't? Okay, then I can only speak English. Okay. So when will he come and surrender and ask the right question? When will Arjun become available for the higher knowledge? Because he was the right instrument to which Lord Krishna could have given the knowledge. Nobody else was there. Everyone had an agenda. Arjun was clean. He was straightforward. He was empty. Whatever came in front of him, he dealt with it with enthusiasm and inspiration. That's another lesson that we need to learn in our life. That whatever comes by your way, and life is continuously presenting something in front of you all the time. How do we deal with it? Do we deal with the complaining attitude? Like many people who came with me to Kailash, the moment we reach Saga at about 13,000 feet high, it's a township. But the moment you get there, all altitude sickness symptoms begin. Someone is having a headache, someone is having fever, someone is having vomiting sensation, somebody is hallucinating, somebody is having chakkar and feeling dizzy. With every step it keeps increasing. For some people nothing is happening, for some people it's happening. For some people it happened in Mansarovars, for some people it happened in Darchen, the base camp of Kailash, for some people it happened at 17,300 feet. But question is, how do we deal with it? This is just an example of how life comes to us. This situation has come. Either you say, no, two people said we cannot do it. So they stayed back in one of the yatras. Some people say, no, it is difficult, but Swamiji has said that in 3 days' time, altitude sickness goes away. He knows better because he has been there before, right? And they just went through it, and the day we started walking, they were fine. You have to just break that. But if we keep thinking again and again that it is difficult, we are just getting anxious. Majority of the people, as we see during COVID period, 2.5, 3 years, majority people died out of anxiety. COVID is nothing but another form of flu. But people died because of what? Anxiety and panic. They started imagining symptoms. Same thing happens in our daily life also. We start imagining that person must have said like this, that person must have thought about me like this. I think they are trying to manipulate. Same way, Arjun also is thinking, I want to see who has come to fight me. This overconfidence in Arjuna has come from where? Because he has never lost a war in his life. Never lost a war. Everything he touched became successful. He was successful. Everything he touched, he became successful. Whether it was gaining of wealth, went with Krishna, Krishna said, do this. They found a mountain of gold. Whether it was Jarasan, whether it was defeating Drupad, whether it was whatever the challenges came under the guidance of Krishna, whom he considered as his elder cousin brother, only as a brother, never as God, never as someone great superior one, because he has not seen doesn't know the potential of Krishna. He only considers. That's what we also do. What is that statement within us? Familiarity breeds contempt, isn't it? When we are too familiar to someone, then we don't know the real worth of that person. And that was the problem with Arjuna with regards to our Bhagavan Krishna. When Krishna came to know that this fellow is asking such a question, you know the background? I don't know if Swamiji has told you, or have you heard why this situation came about? Why?
How the war came about?
Pardon me?
How the
No.
war came about?
Why Arjuna is in the middle of the battlefield?
Why did he ask to bring the chariot in the middle of the
Yeah.
battlefield? So he wanted to gauge the strength of the...
Why he wanted to gauge the strength of it? Doesn't he know? For 8 months they have been planning.
Just to feel good.
Just
to feel good.
To feel good that I got the Lord with me. No, he didn't know that it was the Lord with him till then. He knows Krishna is extraordinary, but he doesn't know that he is the universal person. See, what happened was, this is something majority people don't tell or they don't know. And that is, when the war was Krishna, you know that Krishna went to the Hastinapur and asked that, give me 5 villages and I guarantee you from the Pandava side that there will be no war. Correct?
Correct.
And Duryodhana said, I will not give even that much land which can be placed on a tip of a needle.
Yeah.
And it came back. War has been declared. Krishna says, now we'll only meet at the battlefield. Everything is getting ready. Duryodhana is he's already gotten ready. Pandavas are getting ready. As a last resort, if you want to sit up, sir, you can sit up. No? As a last resort, Dhritarashtra is the father of Duryodhana. He is a very cunning, well-educated in the scriptures, in the niti, in the administration, in the warfare, everything. Even though he is blind, but his mind is very sharp. He sends a missile in the form of a human being into the camp of Pandavas. You know that? No. Okay. So, first time I am revealing it to you. He sent Sanjay. You know Sanjay who told entire Bhagavad Gita to the blind Dhritarashtra? That Sanjay, who is his charioteer, he sends him to the Pandava camp. And he says, Sanjay goes there, he says, I have come here as a messenger of the king Dhritarashtra, and I want to tell you what he has told me to say on his behalf. And what is he wants to say? He says, my son Duryodhana and his brothers, they are foolish. You are intelligent. You are wise under the leadership of Krishna and Yudhishthir. You are wise people. So, if you are wise, why you want to bring about so much of destruction? Why don't you give up? First point. Second, by killing so many people, why you want to go to hell? Second point. Third, by killing so many people, so many daughters will be without father, so many wives will be without husbands, so many wives and so on. Sisters will be without brothers, and there will be a complete, breakup of the society, because when there are no able men, bodied men there to protect the fairer sex, then men from other countries come and take advantage, and there will be told Narsankar. So he says, why do you want this to happen? What happened then? Krishna Bhagavan, before anyone could say anything, he saw Yudhishthir is calm, Bhim is calm, Nakul Sahadev is calm, but Arjun, he was fidgeting a bit. Yes, what he's saying so right. Before Arjun could open his mouth, yes, why should we fight the war? Krishna said, Yudhishthir, is it all right if I speak on your behalf? I know you are the king. Can I speak on your behalf? He says, yes. He says, Krishna said, all this has been thought over and over and over before. And if you had not thought about it, you must think now. But we are very clear. We are going to fight the war. You tell the king Dhritarashtra, war will be fought under, and there are no circumstances which can be avoided now. Arjun was confused. When such statements were made by Sanjay, Arjun was confused. Who is he? He is the link between, he is the middle fellow. Two brothers on the top, two brothers below. Yudhishthir is very clear that all has been worked out and now war has to happen. He is very clear as a king. Bhim, he has taken a vow that I'm going to drink the blood of Dushasan who abused Draupadi. So he is also very clear that I'm going to take the revenge. The younger two, Madri's children, Nakul, Sahadev, they are also very clear. Whatever the elder brother says, we just follow that. So they are also clear. Who is hanging in between? Like that, Arjun. A pot with a round bottom, it keeps rolling this way, that. That is Arjun now. And that Arjun, Krishna has seen it. Then that moment, that event is over. Arjun is also very clear. But somewhere deep in his subconscious, those words of Dhritarashtra through the mouth of Sanjay have made a seat in his subconscious. Krishna Bhagavan, wanting to give us Bhagavad Gita through Arjuna, had to create a situation. So when Arjun asked, please, oh Krishna, please take the chariot between the two armies. I want to see who has come to fight me. Sayanayor Vayor Madhye. Take it in the middle of the army. Two armies. Krishna Bhagavan took the chariot in the middle of the army, but not in front of Duryodhan, Dushasan and his brothers. Because if Arjuna had seen those fellows, he would have got even more instigated to fight. But where did Krishna bring the chariot of the Arjuna? Because he was the charioteer. He brought it in front of Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, his teachers, his elders. And the moment he saw his grandfather, his Guru Maharaj, his Vedic Guru Kripacharya, immediately the arguments that are given in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, that Arjun says that that my mouth is becoming dry, my hands are, I'm not able to hold the Gandhi, means the bow, my legs are becoming jelly, and is it right? All those are physical symptoms, but then the argument that he gives is all those arguments which Sanjay had presented to the Pandavas. Exactly the same. If you read Mahabharata, you can see that. Exactly the same points. And to such a person, what does Bhagwan say? Bhagwan doesn't, he's smiling. You're crying, you're complaining. I can't, I don't want to fight. How can I be the cause of so many people's death? How can I kill my own cousins? See, when do these thoughts come? When you are not sure what is your position at any given moment. On the battlefield, what is your position? What is your position? A warrior. And what does a warrior have? Only enemy. You have to fight. That's it. There are no cousins. There is no grandfather. There is no teacher. There is no Guru Maharaj. Nothing. There is only enemy. But what is Arjun seeing in the enemy? All the relationships. And his energy quotient, his inspiration quotient becomes push. He becomes deflated. He loses the plot. When a person loses the plot, what do? I don't know what you do with your kids. Do you say, "Beta, पढ़ लो ना, तुम पास हो जाओगे." Sorry, you don't understand. Please study, you will pass. It's okay. I'll take care of everything. Mummy is there, daddy is there. They will do your homework, but you do give the exam. Is it like that? Is that child ever going to grow up in self-confidence? Krishna, on the other hand, he repeats these 4 points of what Dhritarashtra had told him, that I don't want to kill my cousins, I don't want to go to hell, I don't want to bring about a calamity on the women folk once all are dead. This he repeats 2-3 times. Once in the first chapter, twice in the second chapter. In between, Krishna Bhagwan is sitting, he is turning around and he is smiling away, looking at Arjun, who is going on ranting in this manner. And Arjun is not understanding why Krishna is smiling. Dekho maja. And when second time he repeats the same argument, but I'm telling what I'm thinking is right, don't you think? And the moment he says that, Krishna Bhagwan straight away says, he gives him a abuse. And what is the abuse? Klaibyam magama smap. Kya tha yaar? Sorry. Klaibyam masmagam appartha naitatvayupapadyate. So he says, don't be like a clib. Klaibya is a clib. Clib means hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means half man, half woman. Arjun, who is a he-man, he is the man of the times. To be called as half man, half woman, nobody could stand alive in front of him. He would have killed him straight away. But Krishna Bhagwan is telling him, it's like a slap on his face that has, if you remember, that for 14 years before the war, the Pandavas had to live in disguise and 1 year incognito. And that 1 year they were in one kingdom. And there Arjun, Bhim was as the cook, Yudhishthir was as the kinkara, and Draupadi was the queen's maid, and Arjun was the dancer, the musician. He was the dancer and the musician, Brahannala, and he was teaching the dance to Uttara, who eventually became the wife of Abhimanyu. So Krishna Bhagwan is saying, has that role of Brahannala not left you yet? Is there still a hangover? That's why you are in the middle of the army speaking in this manner? A great insult. See? Come. If I'm correct, you are Ashwini?
Yes.
See, how do I know? Siddhi.
Siddhi is the
Acha, he's Siddh. Okay.
That's when he said.
Huh? So when Krishna Bhagavan abuses Arjuna in this manner, Arjun is nonplussed. He doesn't know. He can't. He knows the power of Krishna. He knows the strength of Krishna. He knows the acumen of Krishna, because he can't. He's nowhere in front of Krishna in the strength manner. And looking at him, smile. Still, even after he told him, "Klebya Magasma Partha," with a smile on his face. And afterwards also he is smiling. Then Arjun thinks, yaar, ye kya ho gaya? What is this? Where am I going wrong? If someone is smiling at your misery, two things happen. Either you become angry with that person, or if you become subjective, you see that if that person is smiling in the situation that I am, which means that I am going wrong in my approach somewhere. Correct? I am going wrong in my approach somewhere. And Arjun takes this approach. And therefore, he says in this, the verse says, very famous verse, Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha Nishreyasyaat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Anytime in your life you find at crossroads in your life where you don't know what to do or what not to do, chant this mantra. Chant it for 108 times. Somewhere along the way, answer will come from within. Or kahin se bhi aaye. Let it come from within or without. But the answer will come. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. He says, I just don't know what is right and wrong anymore. Why he's saying that? Because he's seeing Krishna still smiling at him. Huh? Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha. I don't know what is right and wrong. So please tell me what is right and wrong. Nishreyasya nishchitam bruhitanme. And don't tell me just to please me that, hum jaise, if someone is crying, we say give a chocolate and keep that child quiet. So don't give me an answer just to make me quiet. No. Nishreyasyaat nishchitam bruhitarme. Give me an answer, conclusive answer, which is for my highest good, Nishreyas. Nishreyas. So there is Shreyas, there is Preyas, there is Nishreyas. You must have studied that. So Shreyas is good, Preyas is lower good, Nishreyas is the absolute good. So Arjun is saying, tell me conclusively that which is for my absolute good. Why? Shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. I am your disciple and I am your devotee. Who is a disciple? Who is a disciple? We know, we have our own definitions, understanding of a student. But here, the student is he who changes himself to the expectations of the teacher. Expectation, and we are not talking about any Tom, Dick and Harry teacher. We are talking about Krishna Bhagavan. He is the universal person. So he is not going to ask you to change in order to please himself. He is asking you to change for your own betterment. He is going to give you instructions. So Arjuna is saying, Shishyastem, I am ready to change according to the instructions given by you. Shishyastem, Shadhi Pamtam Prapannam, and I am also surrendered at your feet. So there is no ego. I am completely dissolved at your feet. I accept you as the universal person. I accept you as the supreme person. And therefore, on one hand, I am totally devoted to you, and on the other hand, I am ready to change according to your diktats. Left brain, right brain. Right brain is emotional. Emotional mind says, I want to surrender, I am your devotee. Left brain says, I have to do something. I will do the sadhana. I will think. I will inquire. I will change. And that is the student. And what is that change? To change, to recognize the divine within ourselves. And that is the whole Bhagavad Gita. See? And when Arjun was told like this, Arjun said like this, Krishna Bhagavan was very happy. He continued smiling. And from the, if you check, I'm not able to see this, too small for me. From the 10th verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, till the 30th or 31st verse of the second chapter, Bhagavan gives him the absolute knowledge. What is that absolute knowledge? What is this Atma? What is Atma? That which is unborn, that which is undying, that which is most ancient, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupa. It is not that the Atma is never born, Atma never dies. Just like the person keeps changing the clothes, the Atma also keeps changing the bodies. All those examples were given. So many examples. The adjectives were used and ideas were given in order to impress upon the mind of our Arjun that you are the indestructible principle. And not only you, Atma is not only in you or in me, it is in every one of us. That Atma is indestructible. And Arjuna was told that. But Arjuna said, it's all okay what you told me, but there's a big but. And when that but came, then Bhagavan understood that this fellow is not yet qualified to understand what I just told him in the 20 verses or so. So he comes down to his level. Every Mahatma does this same trick, process. First, the truth is told. When a person doesn't understand, then the Mahatma, even today, if he is a true teacher, he will come down to the level of the student and slowly raise him up. Raise his consciousness, raise his understanding, make it palatable to him, so that that person is able to catch where the teacher is abiding. And in this manner, the second chapter, I'll just give you a small gist so you get some idea. You must have all studied Bhagavad Gita. You have studied Bhagavad Gita, Jnaneshwari or Gita? Jnaneshwari? Gita. You have studied Bhagavad Gita? Still studying? You have also studied? Very good. So, I will tell you something which you have not studied. Within Bhagavad Gita, I will tell you a sequence. We are talking about how to grow happily. And until and unless these principles are not applied in your life, growth will not happen. Growth is not going to happen. What is the first lesson in chapter 2? First lesson in chapter 2 is Karmanyevadhikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. So in simple word, I am not going to tell too much Sanskrit, don't worry. So what is that? I'm just taking one aspect of it to create a theme. So what is that chapter 2 saying? Because Arjun did not understand. When the highest knowledge was given to him, he didn't understand it. So Krishna Bhagavan is coming down. So where do you come down? From where everyone considers themselves to be the body, everyone considers themselves to be the doer. If I don't do it, how things will happen? If I don't pick up the food, how will the food go into my mouth? If I don't work, how will the money come? If I don't change the clothes, how will the clothes get changed? If I don't take bath, how will I become clean? If I don't do, the doership is there. So the first lesson is that perform actions karmanyevadhikaraste without expectation of a result. What happens as a result of this? When you have this attitude as you go through your life, you continue performing actions, individuality is there, you are taking the ownership, the doership is there. I want to perform, but how? Without expectation of result. This will become very clear when we are understanding that what is the purpose of spiritual life. See, happiness is equal to spirituality, or spirituality is equal to happiness. So what needs to happen in order for happiness to express through you every moment of your existence? And if from 10th verse till 30th verse, Krishna Bhagavan has already said, you are of the nature of happiness. Atma is of the nature of Satchit Anand. Anand, you are of the nature of happiness, every one of us. Then why that happiness is not expressing itself every moment? What is blocking it? What is the hindrance in between? Answer?
Man and buddhi.
No. Yes, okay, one way. But in the context with what I'm just telling you right now, expectations also, doership. The doership is the hindrance. Now, if we have to be happy, if our nature is of happiness, then doership needs to dissolve. The whole spirituality is nothing but dissolution of individuality. Individuality expresses as karta and bhokta, doership and enjoyership. This enjoyership is coming and going. But the happiness we are talking about is continuous, a continuous inspiration to be that I am. So the whole journey is of dissolution of this individuality, which is expressing as doership. So uske liye, for that, the first mantra is given, first indicator is given, that perform actions even though it is with doership, but without any expectation of a result. See, what happens in our life is, all thoughts in our mind, I don't know if you know that, all thoughts in our mind are only about past or future. Have you ever noticed that? In the present moment, there can be no thoughts. Can you do anything about the past thoughts? Already the memories are there. You cannot get rid of them. But can you stop future thoughts and memories and impressions from being formed? Possibility. So, ma phaleshu kadachana. If you do not expect the result, your mind is going to be slowly, because as we gave the example before, that in COVID, majority people died out of anxiety of what is going to happen. COVID, arey baapre, because so much media onslaught was there, that breathing happens, oxygen is less, you feel like this, you feel like that. My friend, you know these Harry Potter books, that publisher, I don't know, I can't remember the name of the publisher. He was the CEO in Delhi of that. 2 days. And naturally, he was always a bit on the, maybe he's very successful, but mentally very weak. Even before marriage, Swamiji, should I get married or not? Next morning is his marriage. And he's coming. I said, yes, why you are spoiling that girl's life by asking this question now? Didn't you think about it before if you didn't want to get married? Such type of mentality. He went into the hospital that I think I got COVID symptoms and didn't come out of the hospital. How many years old? 37. 2 kids, one 5-year-old, one not even 1-year-old. Anxiety. Why? Anxiety is always of the future. Can we do anything about the past? No, it's already done. But about the future, I can stop thinking about the future. Right now, if I keep thinking what I have to say next, how you are receiving it, what will happen, I will be a mess out here, isn't it? Same thing in our life also. Majority of the times, why do we have memory loss at the time of giving exams? Because expectation. Will I remember the answer or I will not remember the answer? Gaya kaam se. Chutti ho gayi. And there we free. I know all the answers, but when I'm writing the answers, I don't remember anything. Anxiety, panic. And that is exactly the... So, when we karmanyevadhikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana, we are dealing, our mind only functions in the past or the future. All the data that is collected in our mind is only from these 2 areas. In the present, there is no data. So, by 2nd chapter, if you take this particular verse, you are dealing with the 50% of the mind, thoughts in the mind, of the future. Now, what happens when 50% of the thoughts of the future are not allowed to erupt in your mind through practice? What will happen to the mind? More the thoughts, more the crystallization of the mind. Lesser the thoughts, more will be the expansion of the mind. Less thoughts, more expansion. More energy available, more focus available. Isn't it? Then comes the 3rd chapter. I'm just giving you an overview. Comes to the 3rd chapter. What is the 3rd chapter? 3rd chapter tells you that what you do is not important. What is your attitude behind what you are doing is more important. So, are you holding the knife to kill or are you holding the knife to heal? Correct? Both are doing, both are cutting. But what are you using it for? The intention behind the action is more important than the action. Suddenly something is shifting now. This possibility of your mind shifting to the attitude will not happen if the purification is not there. If the 2nd chapter, the karmanyevadhikarastha, is not done, the 3rd chapter will not automatically click in. But if, like Arjuna, you are available right now also, okay, understood. Now, from next day onwards, what I do is not important. What is my attitude with what has to be done as life is presenting itself every moment, that is more important. And as we refine our attitude from manipulation to corruption to various emotions we go through, what is in it for me? We keep correcting our attitude. Sometimes many of them are the default settings we find within us to correct it again and again and again and again. And eventually, as the attitude becomes more and more refined, we come to a point where we realize the fourth chapter. And what is the fourth chapter? Fourth chapter makes us realize that wherever there is action taking place, there is inaction also taking place. And wherever there is inaction, there is action also taking place. And who are you? Only the observer. This is क्योंकि हम इतने addicted, we are so addicted in doing that we don't come to realize that everything in our life is happening. According to our yoga, the jati, ayu and bhog. Jati is in which species you are going to be born. Ayu, how many breaths you are going to breathe in this lifetime. Bhog, what experiences you are going to have in this lifetime, is already predetermined. Oh my God, I don't have any choice. No. But you have to come to that realization yourself, not because I am saying it, not because the scriptures are saying it. You have to find it out for yourself. And if you follow this process of second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter, I'm just taking the gist of it. If you understand the growth pattern that Krishna Bhagavan is taking us through, then you will also come to this. What is the fourth chapter saying? Wherever there is action, there is inaction, and wherever there is inaction, there is action. For example, a simple example, that there is inaction right now. You are sitting still, but there is action going on. Blood is flowing inside, breath is going in and out, eyes are blinking, but you are not doing anything, but it's happening. Or I came from Delhi to Dubai. I didn't do anything. I was just sitting in one seat. I actually went to sleep. But I reached. I didn't act, yet I traveled the distance of whatever thousands of kilometers that had to be covered. So like this, you start seeing, this becomes available to your vision wherever you go, that action and inaction both are complementary, both are coexisting. This only happens when you have followed the third chapter by correcting and refining your attitude behind the action. Not focusing on the action, but focusing on the attitude behind the action. So what is the attitude with which I am speaking right now? Speech is action. What is my attitude? To improve you? To fool you? What is your attitude? Only you can tell. When Swamiji is going to stop? When are we going to have our dinner? What could be made what are the dishes that are made in the dinner? Think. When this happens, when the student realizes action and inaction are both coexisting and they are just happening, he is the observer, fourth chapter. It brings him to the fifth chapter. What is that? Karma Sannyasa Yoga. He becomes totally dispassionate, indifferent to all activity. देखो, इस तरीके से पहले, I'm saying in Hindi, have you thought about it in this manner before? So it leads to indifference or vairagya or dispassion towards the activity or action. When you are not interested Action is taking place. You have understood activity is taking place. Breathing is taking place. Hunger is taking place. Bladder pressure is taking place. Eyelids blinking is taking place. Digestion is taking place. When the sleep is taking place, dream is taking place. Waking also happens by itself if you have not put the alarm on. Everything is happening. Hair are growing by themselves. Nails are growing by themselves. All activity is happening by itself. Why should I take the ownership of all this activity and call myself the doer? Stupid are we? When I can be free, we should be free. Practice leverage. When this 5th chapter clicks in, that you become dispassionate towards everything, the inner pull comes. And that is the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And what is that? Dhyana Yoga. 6th chapter is the Dhyana Yoga, meditation. And what does the meditation? There are so many things written in that chapter. I'm not going to go into all the, find a nice place darva grass, put the cloth, the skin, and then put the Baygon spray everywhere and then sit down so that no mosquitoes come and bite you. No, I'm not into that. So what I have caught there? Uddharet atmanam atmanam avasadayet. Meditation means now your mind is free from all doership. Sannyas. Sannyas means what? Samyak nyas. Means you are equanimous towards everything. You are not interested into anything, in anything. With that type of mindset, you come to meditation seat and then what do? Just remain empty? No. Uddharet atmanam. Raise yourself by yourself, in yourself, for yourself. How do we raise otherwise? Om, we'll chant Om. We'll do pranayam. We'll do various yoga exercises. Bhagwan there also gives you direct way. Uddharet atmanam. When you don't understand it, he comes down to your level again. Oh, chacha, theek hai, nahi samajh aaya, koi baat. If you didn't understand, no problem. I'll tell you how to do it. You find, regarding this, there is another story. You heard Parshuram? You heard of Parshuram? No. This comes from Tripura Rasya. Tripura Rasya began this way. Parshuramji went to, when he came to know that the Pinaka Dhanush, the Shiva Dhanush which had been presented to him, has been broken by Ramchandraji. Someone has broken, he came to know. And he could travel at the speed of thought. So he came, zoop, and Ramchandraji, Dasharath, Lakshman, Sita ji, they were going back in a big caravan to back to Ayodhya from Janakpuri, Mithila, after the marriage. And our Parshuram ji said, who broke this Dhanush? Lakshman ji said, who do you think? Yeah, he's a firebrand. He said, who do you think? It was only piece of wood. It broke. What can we do? He said, you don't know. This was Shiva Dhanush. Then Ramchandra says, Lakshman, quieten. It's okay. I will deal with him. What is it, sir? Who broke? I touched it and it broke. What can I do? I tried to string it and it broke into 2 parts. How can it break into 2 parts? How can I tell you how can it break? It broke. And that's why you are here. And when Ramchandraji said in this manner, Parshuramji became very angry. And he said, let me see if you can wield the Narayana Dhanush. Narayana? Because he is Narayana avatar, no? Ramchandraji is also Narayana avatar. Parshuramji is also Narayana avatar. What is the difference between them? What is the difference between the two? Parshuramji is born in a Brahmin family but behaving like a Kshatriya. Ramchandraji is born in a Kshatriya family but by nature he is like a Brahmin. Calm, cool, never fighting, never angry. Parshuramji has killed even though he is Brahmin, in vengeance, he has killed 21 times all the Kshatriyas of the planet. Ramchandraji is calm and cool. So he says, you will this. The moment he thought of the Narayan Dhanush came into his arm, it just flew into the arms of Ramchandraji. Because consciously, Ramchandraji is a higher consciousness compared to Parshuram. You see? And after Ramchandraji, Krishna consciousness is even greater than Ram. So that's another story, another time. So he took the Narayan Dhanush came into his hand. He put the arrow to it. Parshuramji, you know the rules of the Narayan Dhanush? He says, yes. That once an arrow has been placed on the bow, it has to be shot. It has to have a destination. So tell me, where should I shoot the arrow? Parshuramji, but in that moment, wisdom dawned on Parshuram. He realized he is standing in front of a great person. He is Parshuram. Parshu is the axe. So Ram holding the axe. This is Shri Ram without the axe. So he says, please shoot this arrow in that direction where my ability to travel at the speed of thought is curbed. So Ramchandraji makes Parshuramji sit on the bow or on the arrow, and he shoots it towards the Mandarachal mountain. And he reaches there. And when he reaches there, he is looking for a teacher, because now he has decided he is not going to be running around killing anyone, because now Ramchandraji is there, a greater Kshatriya who is with integrity. So he looks for a teacher. He finds Matanga Muni, and he goes to Matanga Muni. Matanga Muniji, tell me, what is the purpose of life? He says, to be the reality. He says, where is the reality? You are the reality. I did not do any sadhana. I killed 21 times all the Kshatriyas. I am so impure, and you are saying I am the reality? He says, yes, you are so right. Please go to the other mountain that Dattatreya Bhagwan is sitting. And he is your true guru, I am not your guru. Aajkal ke guru, today's gurus want every disciple to be their disciple. Here Matanga Muni is saying, I am not your guru, you go to Dattatreya. So he went to Dattatreya Maharaj. Dattatreya Maharaj says, yes, you come to the right place. And so, sir, tell me please, what is my sadhana? He says, yes, you go up the mountain, you dig the soil with your own hands, with your fingers, nails. You make a statue of Tripura Devi. You dress her up. You put her every day, morning, afternoon, evening, you do 16-step puja. You make nice food for her, breakfast, for lunch and dinner. But you be fasting, but give food to her. Make her go to bed nicely every day, but you remain awake. And he followed it to the T. After 12 years of sadhana, 12 years is called one tapas. After 12 years of doing this daily puja, fasting, living on water, waking up the Devi, and then giving her a bath, and dressing her up, and then playing with her, and then lunchtime came, preparing the food, giving her the lunchtime meal, etc., etc. After 12 years, suddenly one thought comes into his mind. The thought is, I dug the mud, I made the statue, I make the food, I do the puja. How come this inert thing is more important, and I am conscious and I am secondary? With this question, he goes to Dattatreya Maharaj. He says, who is more important? That Tripura Devi whom I made out of the mud, or me, who's the conscious person? He says, naturally, you are more important. Then why did I do 12 years of puja of that? Because you asked that you want to do some sadhana. So now what? So what is the reality? She is the reality or I am the reality? He said, you are the reality. That's what 12 years ago Matanga Muni also told me, that I am the reality. Then to get the clarification of how I am the reality, the entire Tripura Rahasya begins. It's a fascinating text in which the girl, the story begins. I'm not going to go into detail, just to whet your appetite. A young girl, a realized girl, self-realized girl, gets married to a prince, and how she molds the young prince, who's very body oriented, and molds him to become realized, and she without letting him know that she is realized, without letting him know that she is the guru, she is acting as the guru to mold him. And that is the whole story after story, and examples after examples, and the sadhanas after sadhanas. Absolutely fascinating. And that is how, if we have a doubt in our mind, we extend our happiness. Not extend, we delay our happiness. Otherwise, simple, uddharet atmana atmanam atmanam avasadayet. Raise yourself, by yourself, in yourself, for yourself, forever and ever and ever. I was at Kailash Mansarovar just now. I climbed 21,000 feet. I sent him the video. You can share it with them. When I touched Kailash, the Sherpa who was with me, he said, Swamiji, say something. I said, Hamsa Shiva Soham 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 Hamsa Shiva Sa Shiva Soham Hamsaha. He said, no, say something more. You are always repeating that one only. So at that time, one hand on the Kailash mountain, and I'm there in the crevice, because that's the only way I could touch the Kailash mountain. And there, this thought came from Kaivalya Upanishad, because I was taking Kaivalya Upanishad. Kevala means one, that all is the journey of the one, in the one, by the one, for the one, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. That's all there is to it. Now you want to delay that journey, choice is yours, like our Parshuram did, like our Arjuna is doing, or you want to grasp it right here and now, choice is yours. Kaivalya Upanishad says, Atmanam aranim kritva. Arani is, in the olden times, or in aboriginals, or apne puja mein bhi, there used to be a wooden bowl, and there is another wooden bowl, and there is a stick in between. And you take the thread, a rope, and you churn it, and the heat that is generated where the cylindrical stick is touching the wooden bowl, you put cotton wool or grass, and that is the purest fire that you will get. And with that, they used to do the Agnihotra or the Havan or Puja. That was the fire. So यहाँ पे in Kaivalya Upanishad it is said that the lower bowl is the Jiva, the upper bowl is the Paramatma, the stick in between, which is to be churned, is your inquiry, that how this individual consciousness is the infinite consciousness. Keep thinking about it. Find ways to prove that consciousness in this body and the consciousness, the universal consciousness, is one and the same. A very simple example, and then will conclude. Time ho gaya, ek ghanta ho gaya. And a simple example. The space inside this glass and the space in this room is one and the same. The space in this room which is called room space, and the infinite space outside is one and the same. Is there any qualitative difference between the two? No. Exactly the same way. The consciousness within this body that I am and the universal consciousness are one and the same. Keep contemplating about this again and again and again. And what will happen when you think you don't have an answer how both are same? You know, somewhere something is telling you, yes, this example seems correct, but when it comes to the consciousness, that this consciousness and that consciousness is the same and the total consciousness is the same, something is amiss. Then what you have to do? Last example, just like when you are learning to swim, you drink lot of water and eventually one day suddenly it clicks and you learn to float. Or you are cycling, you fall many times and get scratches, and suddenly one day, by grace, suddenly you learn how to balance the cycle, isn't it? Nobody can teach you that. You learn it. It's a knack. Same way, when you keep practicing how this individual consciousness is the same as that infinite consciousness, keep doing it. Many times you will make mistakes here, there, you'll get distracted, your mind will get deviated, it will go into the wrong tracks. But if you are committed to it, one day, suddenly it will click. It's a knack that I am that. And once that happens, डर गया क्या? Once that happens, then there is no coming back. Can you ever forget swimming once you have learned? Can you ever forget how to balance a cycle once you have learned? Exactly the same way. Once it has to click that you are the infinite consciousness. You can never forget it after that. After that, it's only the manifestation of that infinite consciousness through this limited equipment, how it keeps expanding through this equipment. That's the journey afterwards. And that journey is 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th chapter, which will take another time. So, this is the journey. It's simple. It's right here and now. Change your disposition. Accept. Biggest problem is we don't accept. We accept we are the husband, we accept we are the wife, we accept we are the brother, we accept we are the son, but we don't accept that we are the infinite consciousness. The day you accept, all your actions in your life will be dictated by that acceptance. Like your commitment to take care of your family is coming from where? All that energy, all that enthusiasm to take care of the family, do the right thing by your family, because you have accepted it is my family, it is my responsibility, it is my wife, it is my children, I am responsible. The day we accept, we have accepted it. The day you accept that I am the universal consciousness, everything will start changing. All actions will also change. They will reflect your attitude. All actions reflect your convictions. Convictions determine the action. Actions don't determine the conviction. So you accept who you are first and allow the actions to follow through after that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a moment.